Hey guys, this lesson is on multiplying fractions by whole numbers. The first thing I want to do is talk about what a whole number is. So if I have a mixed number, say I have 5 and 1/2, this 5 is the whole number. This means it's complete and has no fractional parts. So a whole number is just a number like 5 pies. It would be a whole pie, right? So a whole number is a number that has no fractional parts left over. The first thing we're going to do is multiply fractions, unit fractions, by whole numbers. A unit fraction is when the numerator is 1, and all we're going to do is multiply the numerator by the whole number and keep the denominator the same. So here our whole number is 9 and our numerator is 1. So 9 times 1 is 9, and we keep our denominator the same. So this one would be 9/4. We can also use repeated addition, which means that I would add 1/4 9 times. And here I'm just adding fractions that all have the same denominator. So I keep the denominator the same and I add the numerators. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So either way, I get the same answer. Now this is also an improper fraction, which means that I have to change it to a mixed number. When I do that, I divide the numerator by the denominator. So I need to do 9 divided by 4. Well, I know that 4 can fit into 9 2 times completely. 2 times 4 is 8, and when I subtract, I get 1. So here I have 2 remainder 1, and as a mixed number, my whole number would be 2, my numerator would be 1, and my denominator would stay the same, which is 4. So all of these answers are correct because they are equivalent. Now let's look at a couple examples. We're still multiplying by unit fractions, and we're still just multiplying our whole number by our numerator. So 1 times 8, or 8 times 1, is 8, and we keep the denominator the same. Now this is not an improper fraction, but it can be simplified, and that means that I can divide the top and the bottom number, or the numerator and the denominator, by the same thing. So if I look at the factors of 8 and 12, they both have factors of 2 and they both have factors of 4. So if I wanted to simplify this or put it in lowest terms, I could divide both of them by 4 and get 2/3. So either of these answers are correct because they are equivalent. Now let's look at our next example. Again, we're going to multiply our whole number in our numerator. So 7 times 1, which is 7. Keep the denominator the same. Now this is an improper fraction, so I need to change it into a mixed number by dividing the numerator by the denominator. 3 can fit into 7 2 whole times. 2 times 3 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. So 2 remainder 1 gives me a mixed number of 2 and 1/3. So both of these answers are correct because they are equivalent. Now I want you to try these practice problems on your own. For the first one, you should have gotten 2/10 or 1/5 if you simplified by dividing by 2. For the second one, you should have gotten 7/12, and that cannot be simplified or changed into a mixed number. Now we're going to look at multiplying other fractions by whole numbers, or multiplying fractions that have a numerator other than 1 by a whole number. we're going to follow the same process. We're going to multiply the numerator by the whole number. So 5 times 7 is 35. And we're going to keep the denominator the same. If it's an improper fraction, you can simplify it or change it to a mixed number, and you can also simplify the fraction. So 35 divided by 10. I know that 10 can fit into 35 3 times. 3 times 10 is 30. So I get 3, remainder 5, or 3 and 5/10. Now that fraction of 5/10 can be simplified because 5 and 10 can both be divided by 5. So another way to write this would be 3 and 1/2. So all of these answers are correct because they are all equivalent. Now I want you to try these practice problems on your own. For this first one, you should have gotten 54 over 10. When you change it to a mixed number, it becomes 5 and 4/10. And if you simplify 4/10, another way to write it is 5 and 2/5, because 4 and 10 can both be divided by 2. For the second one, you should have gotten 10/3, or 10 over 3, which is an improper fraction and can be changed to a mixed number. So it should have been changed to 3 and 1/3. Now 1/3 cannot be simplified, so we would say it's already in lowest terms. So it doesn't have another way to write it. So multiplying fractions by whole numbers is pretty easy. Just remember, multiply whole number and numerator, keep the denominator the same.